In this lesson, we'll make some minor adjustments to some of our light weights, and we'll also start adding some utility easements. All right, so I'm going to jump to a real quick plot preview and kind of show you our next step here. So I'm going to print this and preview, not really print, but preview. And the purpose of this is so we could see what's going on. So when I scroll in here, you'll notice everything on our site's looking pretty good so far, and it's definitely obvious that our focus is going to be on this site. But with our surrounding buildings, these lines are actually getting a little bit confused with what's going on with the lot lines. So we need to create another layer strictly for our surrounding buildings, assign a thicker lightweight, and assign each one of our little surrounding buildings to that. Secondly, I'm going to start darkening in these lines so that this actually pops a lot better on our site. So I'm going to escape out of this real quick, and we'll create a layer really fast. So I'm going to go to Layer, and we'll call this one Buildings. And I'll green check mark it, and we want to adjust its line weight. So we'll bump those guys up to maybe a 0.005. So I'll get out of there, and now what I can do is I can select each one of the houses we made, and thank goodness we used polylines because I don't have to select each individual segment. I could just select the object. And now we're just going to assign it to that building layer. Easy as that, watch. So I got them all selected. Go to my drop down, and we're going to assign it to buildings, and that's going to make those read a lot better. And the next thing we need to do is I want to hatch in all the walls here so that our floor plan actually pops on our site and it doesn't get lost in all the text that we're getting ready to add a little bit later. So I'm going to type in hatch. And this time I'm going with the solid color. And I'm just going to hatch in all these elements within our drawing here. Oops. Got a little crazy there. Fill in this one, this one. Now we could go ahead and jump to these walls. And hopefully we don't have any issues with any boundaries. Occasionally we do, and it looks like we do there. So I'm going to jump here. Oh, still having some issues. So we'll kind of move around and work our way around and use our polyline trick a little bit later. Yep, still. So I could tell just by going around it, we're going to have a few issues, but it's not a problem. We've already solved this problem once before. So I'm going to scroll in again. I'm just trying to darken in these walls so that our plan reads much better. I'm going to make sure I can see that entire void that's going to be shaded in here. Come in this area. Perfect. So I think the only area that's really given us some problems, was this area up here. And what we're going to have to do is actually really quickly use our polyline technique and get this finished out. So I'm just going to trace around this and create some closed loops. Since we did use this floor plan as a block, it would be pretty difficult to kind of go in here or time consuming to go in here, explode, and trying to find out where the gap is. I'm just going to go ahead and really quickly draw my polylines to alleviate that problem. So now when I type in hatch, should be able to take care of that with no problem. Oh, it looks like we have one more spot here, right there. So looking around, I can see, we can still stand to do some of our interiors, like so. So I'm really happy with that. So now when I jump back to a preview here, we'll get a good idea of why I did what I did here. So we'll go to preview. And you can see our floor plan pops really nicely against this really soft hatching for the grass. But also, these buildings now pop a lot more. So I get a better understanding. So when we start calling out dimensions and spacing between buildings in relation to our site, it'll make a lot more sense. It won't just look like a bunch of line work that we're getting lost in. All right, so now that we made those adjustments, I'm going to get out of there. So now we could actually start putting in some utility easements. So I have a utility easement actually right about here. This is where we're going to have our water main. So I'll actually have a little manhole here, and I'm also going to use a special line type just to show the direction of this particular easement, and that there's actually a water main running in this direction on our site. And then after that, we'll take the similar approach and take care of all the easements going on up here in the backyard. So we'll tackle this front yard really quick, and I'm going to set a layer for that one. And I'm going to call this layer, we'll call it a water main. And I'm going to assign a line type to it. I'm definitely going to get rid of that thickness, but I want to assign a specific type of line to it. So I'm going to load one up real quick and see if I can't find one that'll show up nicely on our drawing. We'll go with this one here. Say OK. Green check mark that. And I'm going to draw that line in really quick. So we'll go line. And really, I'm just going to draw this shooting across our site. I'm going to overlap it just a bit. Now, it looks like it didn't show up, that dashed pattern I wanted to. So I'm going to right click and go to properties and see what the deal is here. Maybe I can find a better line type. So let's go with this one here. I think that'll work nicely. So we'll get out of this. And I'm also going to change its color just to give it a nice little faint gray color. I'm going to click on that, water main, and we'll go with this gray color. So that shows up nicely. Now all I need to do is get my manhole placed right there. So I can go with circle, and I'm going to turn off my O-snaps here. I'm going to place my water main, or my manhole for that water main, right about there. And I'm going to assume that that's about 18 inches in diameter. So now I got on my water main. I'm also going to include this on there as well. But now I know later on when we add text, we can actually, say manhole or whatever we want to say for this. But we now know that this is our water main. And again, later on we'll add some text just to do that. So in the next lesson, we'll jump to the backyard and we'll add a couple of other mark our utility easement, but also mark some more utilities. So I'll see you in the next lesson.